Hello everyone and welcome. Today I am starting my journey to learn how to oil paint. So this isn't my first time oil painting, but this year I am dedicated to learning how to do it and to putting it into my creative art practice. That's the big missing puzzle piece, is that I have done it enough in the past to know that I love doing it, but not enough to have my own process or my approach to it so that I know how I'm going to create a painting from start to finish. So I would really like to do that. I would like to learn how to do it. So if you would like to come along with me, then this is the right place for you. Really quickly though, a reminder, I am running a Kickstarter and today is actually officially the last day to back it. My Silver Tears Kickstarter ends today, and that is a Kickstarter that has 100 of these tiny originals available, as well as a book that collects them all together and some other art goodies that you can get. And there is a link down in the description that'll take you over there so you can go check that out and hopefully support it, back it, get some of those rewards. But yes, today is the last day for it. So I'm really excited to cap that off, and I am extremely grateful for everyone who's already supported it. So thank you. But yeah, let's get back to this oil painting. So at the beginning, I did say I know I know the basics of how to use oil paints, but I do not have like a process. Like with my watercolors, I know how I like to handle them. I know how I like to approach it, what kind of structure I want underneath the painting, what kind of prep work I want. With oils, no idea. I'm just completely in this free new space, and that's really exciting, very daunting. So moving forward after this piece, I am going to make like a list of different approaches, different schools of thoughts as far as how to build a painting in oils. But today I wanted to just play with it. I wanted to play with the medium. I wanted to reconnect with it. I find that that's also something that keeps me from using oils, is that it feels so daunting to have a piece that I feel like is ready, that I've spent enough time on the sketch, that I've prepped enough, that I understand what colors I'm going to use, that I have everything figured out and perfectly executed up to the point of starting to paint. And I just wanted to play with it. I wanted to get the medium out. I want to get the paint and put it on my palette and start mixing things and play with the feel of the paint on the piece. That was my goal with this one. I actually sketched it entirely on the panel too. So usually I'll sketch somewhere else. I'll do it in Photoshop digitally, or I'll do it in a sketchbook and then transfer it and then it ends up on my final painting surface. That gives me more chances to get the sketch exactly right, to scrap it if I need to. But I find that when I work on, and I've done this maybe twice before, so this is just a little kernel of a thought, but when I sketch right onto the panel, it just feels more connecting to the piece. I feel a lot more immersed with it. I feel like I can get in the flow of it very quickly without knowing that I don't have to then transfer it, which is a fairly tedious process. It does take me out of like the flow of creating art. So there is a lot to be gained when I feel ready to just sit down and create and enjoy that process of just making something that I can just sketch right onto the panel. That also really helped to work on something small. I find that when I'm just drawing for the final product, I do tend to draw very small. So that was a key thing. In the past, I've also tried to like sketch directly on it, but I've sketched really large and it ended up being not something that I was really happy with. So anyways, that's just me making sure that the approach that I was taking still kind of fit within areas that I was comfortable with, so that I was doing something uncomfortable, which was sketching right on the panel, but it was still within the scale that I'm comfortable with. So that allowed me to marry the two. I find that helps the best when I am experimenting, is to make sure that there's some like cornerstones of things that I can rely on, that I know I'm going to like, or I know that I'm comfortable with, and then I throw in some wild cards or a single thing that is new, so that it gives me this like nice push and pull, but I don't feel like I'm just out in the middle of the ocean with nothing to grab onto. So the actual oil painting, I did this in 2 stages. So I did the first where I blocked out her hair, and then I blocked out the background and had a lot of fun painting with it. But I found that I was still being pretty controlled, pretty rigid with the way that I was putting it down and how I was thinking about it, and how I was thinking how I was going to need to layer on top of it to get the level of rendering that I thought that I wanted. And then the line work on top, because that's something that I feel very married to, but not always in a way that I want. I don't love that I feel so reliant on line work, but Anyways, that is a dependency that I am working through, but I felt very restricted still through the first part of it. And I felt like a fish out of water, of course, because I'm working with something that I'm not very familiar with. I did find that I was really enjoying it and really uncomfortable, and that was fun. That was the reminder that working with oils is the right choice, because even though I felt like I was doing something that was finding me, it didn't feel natural. I wasn't really sure what I was doing. At the same time, honestly, it did feel natural. It did feel like something that was really enjoyable. So anyways, I let that dry for, I think it was maybe 3 days. I'll have to look up what mediums I use, but I use one that's like it's an oil, but it is an alkyd maybe. Anyways, it helps it dry just a little bit faster. So I use that, and I use a white paint that also has a similar medium within it so that it also dries a little bit faster. So I left it, and then I started touching it, playing with it a couple of days later. And again, I could feel that I was very rigid with it and structured with how I was thinking about it, which was leading me to not feel frustrated, because I was still very open with the process, but like it felt like the physical interaction with the painting and where I was mentally were not lining up. So physically, I felt like I was still really trying to be precise, but not achieving the goals that I wanted, because I didn't know how to do it exactly, or like how many layers it would take, how many times after this level dried for me to add the next refinement and the next. So I felt very uncertain, but there was a point where I was looking at it and I thought, okay, that was fun. It was fun. I learned some stuff, but it's not progressing the way that I want. So I think I just need to step away and not waste more time on it, go do something that's actually productive. So I actually turned off the camera. I walked away, and it was like seconds later, I looked at it, I was standing up, and I thought, I just need to treat this like a sketch, like I would a sketch in my sketchbook. I do want to see where like a finished version would end up if I were to sit down and finish it in one session, rather than saying, I'll put off this detail till later. I'll put off this refinement until later, until 2 steps down the road, and then it will look like the way that I want. And that was like the game changer for me for this piece. So I sat back down, I pulled out my paints again, and I just went really loose. And I was in that mindset of, if this is the final product, what can I do to make it look the way that I want it to in a sketch form? It was just so much more fun. I felt much more in the flow of things. I was getting shapes and blends within the oils in a way that I was really excited with. And I added in a little bit of what could be interpreted as line work around her hair, and I loved that. It just felt a lot more alive, and it's just, the process just felt so much more, alive. Alive is the right word for that. I just going with the flow, and it felt really good. And that was really exciting to feel like it was just like, it was kind of a mental block. So to be clear, there are a lot of things stylistically with the approach in this painting that I would like to continue forward. I absolutely want to be able to incorporate looser elements into my work. So that's something that I know that I want to practice so that I can actually execute it on bigger pieces. I'm very, very new to doing things that are a little bit more like painterly or loose. But there are some areas that I know that like my process and how I want the outcome of the piece to be, that is going to need some research and some practice, where I do want it to be more controlled. So kind of more holistically moving forward with my oils, I have thought about how do I actually want them to look. Areas that are more painterly, that are more expressive, maybe more abstract, those areas I absolutely want to exist in my oils. They do not at all in my watercolors, or maybe just like a tiny bit within like wet on wet backgrounds. But anyways, I'm missing that. I am craving that in my work. So I have thought about, where do I want that to be and where do I not want it to be? So I would love to have fairly refined faces. So I want to be able to fairly accurately depict like the shadows and the highlights within the skin, and that like lifeness to them, to my characters. And then I think that the hair can start to get more abstract, and the background can really get abstract. And then I can have like more painterly details and effects. So yeah, that's kind of the order of balance that I think I can imagine I would be happy with. So there are areas that I do want to be very controlled with. I want the eyes to be controlled. I want the face to be controlled, or the skin. And then beyond that, it can get looser. So incorporating that darker, almost black color, that's when it really like clicked in. This piece really did feel like it could become something that I wouldn't hate looking at the end, that I would feel like it accomplished what I wanted. I love that dichotomy of bright and light colors with dark, heavy, almost blacks. I think it's really lively and heavy, and it just tells something. I love it. I love those palettes. So once I added that missing piece with the moths and the butterflies, I loved it. And I loved playing with that more abstract way that it incorporated with her face and her hair. That was it was so much fun. It felt like play to me. And that was really exciting to create a piece that just felt so immersive. I was there as it was being created, as it was forming into this new idea. And that's something that I miss a lot with like my more structured watercolors. And by nature, what I want my watercolors to look like, they have to be pretty controlled, relatively controlled, because watercolors are so transparent. You can't cover up or clean to a certain degree. It kind of has to be where it's going to be from the beginning. So this was so radically different for an approach, and it felt really good. It opened my eyes to things that I've been really craving and missing in my art practice. So I'm so excited and ready to learn more about oils, to do it more, to paint more. So I've already started a couple more pieces, ideas, and sketches. I haven't started putting any oils down yet, but I am so excited to take you guys on the journey with me as I break down how I want to learn oils, so that I can do it with more of like a studying student kind of approach, so that I can learn and bite off the information that I need, so that I can do it as well and as seamlessly, or learn as seamlessly as I can. So yeah, I'm excited for you to come with me while I do that. And another reminder, my Silver Tears Kickstarter ends today at midnight Mountain Standard Time. So make sure to follow the link down in the description if you'd like to go check it out, if you'd like to back it. I am so proud of this project. It was very close to home, and it helped me to explore things that I was really thinking about dealing with at the time. So I'm just so grateful for everyone who has already backed it and helped get the publication of the book side of it done. So thank you guys so much for that. I'm just so excited about this project. I cannot wait to send it out to everybody who has backed it. So thank you. It feels really good to finish off a project and think about the next things that can come from that. So thank you guys so much for watching. There is, again, that link in the description that'll take you over there, but thank you so much. I'll see you guys next time. I have a few more paintings that are all done, and I can't wait to show you. So yeah, stay tuned for some more art videos.